Hello everyone, my name is The Clever Fool. Today I'll be playing the second episode of Victors and Vanquished titled Vortigern. This one has two achievements, one where we hire the Saxons 12 times and then defeat them, another where we don't lose a single city. Let's try to go for both of them in the same playthrough, shall we? It'll probably be pretty difficult, if not impossible, but let's give it a shot.
As the Empire fell, Rome's legions departed Britain. Seizing the opportunity, barbarians attacked the island. They came by land and by sea, wild Pichs of the northern highlands, raiding Gaels from the west, and various Germanic tribes of the east. As the walls in Britain crumbled and the towns were plundered, the Britons requested the return of the legions. In response, the Emperor Honorius told the Britons to see to their own defense. Britain was now alone.
Alright, our objectives here are to recruit Saxon Federati. Our hints tell us that we have a population limit of 200, but begin in debt. Our focus should be on rebuilding Britain's economy while withstanding enemy raids. Saxons are key to our survival. As we recruit more Saxons, our armies will become bigger and stronger. The Saxons are our salvation, but they may also be our destruction. We cannot survive without them, but the more dependent we are on them, the more powerful the Saxon settlements will become. Powerful Saxons will inevitably become enemies. Gradually transition to armies made up of Britons, or you'll have a disloyal army if the Saxons attack you. Repair the Roman walls and towers, as they are better than any you can build. Even infantry can use the towers against your enemies, so we have crenellations probably. It is wise to retreat from territory you cannot defend rather than spread your forces thin. Unfortunately, this is not going to be an option for us. Our scouts report that with the departure of Rome's legions, Britain's survival is uncertain. The cities of Deva, Eboracum, Glevum, and Londinium are all that remain of Roman civilization on the island, but their walls are damaged and their garrisons gone. The wild and barbaric Pichs in blue of the northern highlands threaten Britain. Although Hadrian's Wall has held their hordes back for 3 centuries, the wall is in disrepair and manned by too few men. The Giles in green of Ireland have taken advantage of the disorder to launch piratical raids along the coast from their island home to the west. Likewise, the Franks in yellow sail for Britain from their camps on the Frisian coast to the east. They come to plunder Britain as they have plundered Roman Gaul. Beset by these barbarians, Britain's salvation may lie in the Germanic Saxons in grey, fearsome and capable warriors eager to sell their swords for parcels of land. Alright. Right, hello everyone. This is going to be a post-commentary on the playthrough that I did for this mission because honestly I could not do it live. I had to really focus. My APM is not the fastest, so I had to be sure that I was on the ball this entire time.
You must recruit Saxons or Britain will fall to the invaders. The deal is struck. Saxon warriors will fight for you in exchange for settlement lands on the eastern coast.
So this guy's going to be real talkative here. I might need to talk over him
until
for a
you
little
have
bit.
Restored the treasury
First things
and
first,
rebuilt the army. You will need
we realize that we're
to
going to send our first war parties
recruited
all
at the
north.
Wonder.
The first
Know this.
6 war parties.
Every Saxon
we're going to be training them
will
consecutively
the
so that
size
we
and
can build
power
our
of the
force.
Saxon
And the
settlements,
purpose of doing this
and they
is
will not
to
remain
eliminate the
allies
Pichs.
forever.
I think I might end up doing the first 7 consecutively. Just don't make sure not to do them all 2 consecutively, or else you will not have population space for your units.
Stronger.
And also, it will trigger the Saxons
built
to
by
betray
Emperor
you.
Hadrian has held back.
You might have noticed there that I just garrisoned some of my legionaries in the towers to start with the crenellations. I also sent our horse centurion down south because we're about to get attacked by 2 archers and a low raider down in the southwest.
Along with faint memories of Roman
and
battle
I am
tactics.
building villagers in all TCs and setting them to gather food. Food is the most important thing. You start with only 200 food in 3 town centers in the Dark Age, so there's a lot of stuff that you need to get. For this particular eastern city, I do lock the gate at the start to prevent some enemies or some Saxons from walking in and trying to steal my geese. After those guys fail, I make sure to open the gate again and get my scout going. You have a couple of scouts. Make sure that you use your scouts to gather all the herdables in the area so that you don't have to get wood for a long time. You also start with no wood, which is kind of sad. So the important thing here will be to make sure that you get as many villagers out as possible on the herdables, leveraging the Britain's gather bonus, and then on the farms that exist in the scenario.
Though the old Roman walls and towers are in disrepair, they are better defenses than any you can build. Even swordsmen can defend a wide area from the top of these towers.
Okay, so, remember the two achievements that we're going for here. I was only going for the one where you recruit from the Saxons 12 times and then win, but I did, spoiler alert, manage to also get the Keep All Towns Standing achievement. That one more by pure luck than anything else, I believe. We'll talk about how we got both of those later, but there's a lot more stuff to be talking about right now. So while I'm getting my villager eco out, you'll notice that we have relics, and we start with a negative gold value, which I've never seen before, as our Centurion kills this starting raid. The relics in our monasteries are kind of easing away our debt as time goes on, but we'll want to speed that along with gold miners sooner or later. And with our initial waves of Saxons, we're going to be throwing them at the Pichs. Now, more on the Pichs, they are in the Dark Age, but they have maybe like 6-7 full-works up north with a dock. Not sure what the dock is for. That periodically spawn Woad Raiders, Pictish Chieftains, which are really strong with like 400 HP, 5/5 armor, as well as battering rams. So,
lands of the Picts.
you need to take the Pichs out early, or else they will overrun you. It's really not optional. You have to knock them out, and you want to do that with the Saxons. You want to do that with few enough Saxons such that they don't overcrowd your initial population space, and they don't betray you too early, but with enough Saxons such that you are able to confidently clear them out. Now, with my Romans, I'm fortifying the western tower, because that is where the Giles will be landing their initial attacks on, as you can see just flashing briefly on the screen there. Those guys will need to fend off the Guile attacks while the Saxons go off and kill off the Pichs.
The Gales are attacking your coast, taking plunder. They must be stopped.
I, in fact, redirect a few of my
Pichs
Saxon
rally
forces
their warriors to
there
push
help
you from
my
their
Roman
lands.
friends. When this voice line happens, I think what's happening is some soldiers will spawn specifically as a reaction to you pushing into the lands. Also, every X minutes from the full works, there are going to be units popping up. In particular, there's one at the 10-minute mark where a bunch of Pictish chieftains will pop out. We need to be sure that we take out as many of those full works as possible, so that fewer of the blue units are going to be popping out and bothering us. Once you reduce the Pichs to no more chieftains left and just a couple of full works remaining, they will be defeated.
Ready. Yay. Gatherer. Mandatum. Equilin. Chopper.
Mandatum.
Firm.
So essentially, I put the first 7 recruitments of Saxons into this effort. My villagers are doing pretty much nothing but gathering food and wood for now. And then, as we stabilize, I'm going to be keeping around some Saxons to protect Hadrian's Wall. But then, other than that, as the new recruitments come in, I in fact just delete all of them to make population room for my boom. Booming here is extremely important. Using the food that you have here is extremely important. You're going to lose a majority of your economy at some point during this mission. I don't really think that there's any way about it to go around it. However, there is one notable exception that I will talk about briefly once it shows up on screen. So here we go. We're still in the Dark Age. We've got around 30 villagers. We're gathering as many herdables as we can still to leverage that natural food. And we are destroying Pictish forwards here.
Ready. Mandatum. Yay. Bulden.
Because I have some wood choppers now, periodically I am constructing new farms. I do think it's not super necessary to invest fully into farming infrastructure, because you're likely going to be losing a lot of the farms. But at least initially, to have more villagers on food, it is a good idea to build farms. The goal here is to get to Imperial Age as fast as possible, and to get Arbalester tech with full upgrade. So that's Bracer, Archer Armor, Ballistics, and all that good stuff.
Mandatum. Yay.
You guys will see how it works very soon.
Bolden. Ready. Bolden. Greeting.
Alright, the Pichs have been defeated.
Their chieftains executed, and their armies dispersed. Your northern borders are secure.
And now that my northern borders are secure, I am rotating these Saxon forces back down south to help me deal with the Giles.
Greeting, yay. Yours, fit.
And in the southern TC, I'm beginning to rotate new villagers out onto stone. Stone is going to be vital this mission for watchtowers near the Wonder.
Greeting.
Even though they can only be ever be watchtowers, and they're only available in the Castle Age, strangely enough.
Ready.
With the university upgrades available in the Imperial Age, even watchtowers, when bunched up together, are very nice. Also, aside from the Pichs, none of the Franks, nor the Gales, nor the Saxons produce any siege weaponry, so a line of towers will be very, very powerful, as we'll see. There are a bunch of relics scattered around the map. I do suggest grabbing as many of those as you can. I doubt you'll be able to grab all of them, but that trickle of gold in the monasteries will be nice. Sometimes the raiders will kind of let your monasteries sit and not destroy them, allowing that trickle to stay much longer than otherwise you'd expect. There you see me killing off a squad of Saxon mercenaries there. Remember, shift delete deletes all in your selection style. I also am about to lose several villagers to a boar because I forgot that I don't have loom since we had negative gold for so long. Make sure that you don't forget to research loom. That will cost me a couple of villagers. It doesn't hurt me too much in the long run, but it is what it is. Having my units hang out on the west side there, where the Giles typically land. As you can see, I am hovering around 200 population. If I go too far over that and prevent myself from booming, I'm just going to kill off soldiers until I get below that pop cap. That wolf is munching on my villager, who will probably die because I still haven't researched loom. I should be researching loom, but I'm not doing it.
Greeting, yay.
So after you recruit your 6th or 7th wave of Saxons, you should kind of let it sit for a little while to buy yourself some time, but the Saxons will still inevitably betray you. Here are my villagers getting rolled by the boar. The Saxons will still betray you eventually, and you need to be able to get 12 recruits before they betray you, so I don't suggest waiting for too long. Maybe like a couple minute lull before you start recruiting more so that you can get to the 12 recruitment mark. And there you see, I'm just, as soon as they show up, I'm just performing a human sacrifice in front of the Wonder. Just annihilating all those Saxons. I think that just really serves to change the betrayal time. I don't know if it actually makes the Saxons come as warriors,
but also bring wives and children. They seek a new future in these lands alongside us.
Alright, so you see here I've got maybe 16 wood choppers, 30 food gatherers, 13 gold miners alongside the few relics that I've managed to, or I guess we've had them the whole time since we're still in the feudal age and don't have any monks. Also been mining stone so that we can prepare for towers eventually. At this point in the game, I was still fully expecting to lose all of my town centers. I was still only going for the 12 recruitment into a victory achievement, because in all of my other playthroughs, sooner or later, my town centers just got completely overrun by whether the Franks or the Giles, the Saxons, or some combination. This time around, it didn't happen. I'm not entirely sure why. I think there is some kind of luck element. I also think there is an element of, as I do another human sacrifice, an element of making sure that you don't fight near your town centers. That way, the AI doesn't really aggro on the TC. If your TC, like for example, shoots arrows and it hits someone, that seems to trigger the AI's wrath. Whereas if they don't do that and you just let it sit empty with no villagers, then they seem to be happy to ignore it a little bit. So that's my suggestion. Don't use your TC defensively if you want them to stand. Just let your villagers die or run your villagers away. I'm spreading my economy kind of all over the map here just to make it more annoying for the AI to hunt them all down. They will eventually all get hunted down, but Having them run around a little while will give me plenty
Ready.
of time to build up my defenses and train up some archers and research technologies so that I'm in good shape
Mandatum.
later on.
Greeting.
Yes, hunter.
Notice that mill is getting me big value there. I managed to get a couple sheep there earlier, hunt a few deer, hunt a boar as well, and I'm just moving south. All of that was natural food minus the one farm. At this point, too, I'm starting to train archers,
As you welcome
making
Saxons
sure
into
to
your
set my
army,
gather point
their
away from the
settlements in the
sacrificial
east
pillar.
grow and prosper.
Bulden.
Already they outnumber the Britons in those lands.
Ready, firm.
And I've got 1,000 stone in the bank, 1,000 gold,
Bulden.
spending
Frankish
tons
raiders
of
have been
wood.
seen on the
Yay.
eastern approaches to Britain.
Wood will be a
Golden.
tough resource to get. Try to get as much of that stuff as possible.
Mandatum.
I'm not sure if I got my Feudal Age eco upgrades yet for wood. If I haven't, I should have, because wood is very important. Now, one thing you might have noticed is that I built a lumber camp up north. That's because, for some reason, the AI doesn't seem to check up north very strictly. So after a while, if I move my economy up there, those villagers will remain relatively safe, and I'll get a trickle of resources
Mandatum.
coming through while I'm in the
Ready.
second phase of the mission here.
Bolden.
Now I've started to
Ready.
lay out my
Greeting.
tower foundations.
Correct. Greeting.
Ready.
Will have hunter.
Yay. Yes. Correctus. D.
As the Saxons grow in numbers, they look hungrily at more lands.
And these villagers that
Your
I've sent down there
So far,
are
the Saxon
going for
kings
the
remain
stone
loyal,
pile so that I'll be
but
able
this
to get
will not
more
last.
towers in my main town later. So I've arrived in the Castle Age.
Ready. Great.
About to train out my next sacrifice, and you can see that because of the boom and because of the relic gold and the gold miners, I already have the gold to get to Imperial Age, and I'm only short just a little bit on the food to get to Imperial Age. This is why it's so important to keep your food income coming to get to the Imperial Age, and then to keep your wood income coming as well, so that you can train archers and research the text for those archers. This kind of balance lets you manage your economy very well. You need your food
Relations between
to
Saxons
train
and
villagers,
Britons have begun
research
to
text,
fray
and
as the
advance age.
Saxons encroach
You need a
on Brittonic
good chunk of
lands.
gold in order to do that as well,
Some
and then you use
Saxons
wood
have
and
even
gold to
begun to
train
take from
arbalesters.
Britons on the edges
Stone
of
is
Saxon
used pretty much
territory.
entirely to build towers and repair the walls that you
Estora.
have here.
Estora.
I've got crossbowmen coming out, I have Imperial
Ready,
Age
farm.
coming out,
The
Correct.
Saxon
Correct.
kings
and
are
I'm starting to
powerful,
move
and
my
they have begun
villagers
to
up
form
north to
alliances
protect
and
some of them.
conspiracies against you. The time for war is near. Look suspiciously on any Saxons in your
Once you get
armies.
this voice line with the look suspiciously on any Saxons in your armies,
Yay.
you should
Yay.
be deleting all of your
Bulden.
Saxon units. They will betray you, they will turn gray,
Mandatum.
and you will be in
Great
a
chopper.
massive world of hurt if you
treachery,
don't
inevitable
delete them.
barbarian treachery. The Saxons invade,
Bulden.
and those in your armies have turned their axes against you.
Equilin. Correct.
Now I'm just bringing villagers towards the center to try to evacuate them. Others that are mining valuable mineral resources are going to stay where they are until the bitter end. And at this point, I fully expect my town center to just go down. You can see over there that the Saxons are absolutely wiping the floor with those walls. But nonetheless, I'm still trying to set up in the center here. I should have set up
Ready.
even harder here. In fact, I was very much in danger of just losing at this juncture because I didn't have enough soldiers stationed there, didn't have enough defensive structure set up.
Mandatum.
A lot of my resources are being floated, in fact, so I'm in a very precarious position right now. If you want to do this better, you should be moving some villagers into the building up the defenses phase a little bit sooner. However, fortunately, it does end up well for me. Now that I'm in the Imperial Age, some texts to look out for, of course, are the blacksmith texts, so bodkin, arrow, and bracer, the archer armors if you can afford them, but also the building HP text from the university, so masonry and architecture, as well as ballistics for your archers and towers, as well as chemistry for your archers. You're not going to be able to upgrade from watchtowers, but chemistry plus bracer is going to make them a lot stronger, and then you can garrison them later. Here you can see that I'm losing crossbowmen to enemy throwing axes and crossbowmen. I'm in a very, very dangerous position because I'm also losing villagers that are not going to be easy to replace. I need to be getting towers out faster. I need to be getting more archers out. Fortunately, I had the foresight to bring some more villagers in here, so I have a lot of them. But my gate's going down. I didn't repair the walls, so a hole is going to be busted here soon. You can avoid all of these things if you just shift some villagers in this direction to set up your defenses a little bit earlier than I did. But I guess for cinematic purposes, this ended up being more interesting. I'm still trying to be optimistic here and grab relics, because who knows how long the relics might stay up. I do have some hopes here that the Pichs territory with those trees is going to provide me a small trickle of safe wood income and a safe farmland now that they have been eliminated from the area. But the center portion of the map is about to become the hotspot. Lots and lots of enemies are going to start streaming in that direction.
Yay. Greeting. Ready. Mandatum.
So not enough archers. I have the right idea here, and I thought in this moment on this screen, I thought that I had lost because I saw that I didn't have repaired walls, and I saw how many enemies were around, and I figured that I wouldn't be able to hold. But nonetheless, I did not give up, and I'm glad I didn't.
Correct. Hold them.
Up north, you can see that I have a small economy out there that's kind of unbothered, but the rest of my villagers are getting absolutely slaughtered.
Yay. Hold them. Yay.
I do have a very nice ring of watchtower set up. I can garrison them to keep my villagers safe. And they are chipping away at the enemies while they hack away at the walls here. They're doing a very good job. But the northeastern wall there is starting to go down. And a hole is going to be busted in there soon. And that hole will lead to a very tense moment for us here. Nevertheless, I still have some golden wood in the bank, so I'm still producing arbalesters. You can go for scorpions too if you're in a pinch. But I find that the scorpions get killed by throwing axemen fairly easily, so it's tough to keep them online. I prefer to save up for arbalesters instead of having an archery range up. Some Giles did end up sneaking into this area, but they're just feudal age archers and skirmishers, so nothing too crazy. I just sack a couple of villagers here and then eventually clean them up as a TC.
Seek plunder to prove their right to rule.
Notice here also that I did build a second archery range so that I could keep arbalester production going. And even though I don't have murder holes, because there are so many towers in this area, they're always able to shoot something. And so you don't really need murder holes too badly. I lay a house foundation to try to plug the gap, but I don't think the villager gets there in time before the next wave. The next wave is already here, in fact. I try to rush the villagers over there to get at least one hammer hit, but the first swordsman sadly arrives just a few seconds before the villagers arrive, and so I try optimistically to get through, but in actuality I only ended up getting one of the villagers killed instead. After this wave, however, I am able to plug the gap, I do believe. So you see here we still have 800 stone, we still have some gold incoming from the relics. Our wood is still flowing through with 14 wood choppers, even though they're walking very far up in the north between trees and the town center. It is a non-zero wood income, which means with the relics and the non-zero wood income, I will have some archers coming through over and over again, which is very reassuring. The arbalesters in Imperial Age are really starting to come into their own now. The Saxons are still only in the Castle Age, the Giles are in the Dark Age, and the Franks are only in the Feudal Age. So the attack upgrades in particular on my archers are doing massive work for us here. The archers are able to mow through the enemies with relative ease. Even though my towers are only watch towers, because they have the bracer tech and the chemistry tech, they're also doing quite a lot of damage. I could have researched arrow slits too. I'm not sure if I if I end up doing that. I should have done it if I didn't do it. But arrow slits would have been a very useful tech to have here as well.
Yay. Mandatum.
Hadrian's Wall is slowly going down, but it's honestly just taking aggro for us at this point. Here we have a lull in the action, so I'm using this opportunity to set up repair operations.
Mandatum.
And I'm spreading my villagers out in the north to try to get some trees going. I do invest in researching bowsaw. It's debatable whether it's worth it at that point. The food might be more valuable, but I didn't really have any other techs that I was going for at this point. Notice that I don't even have leather archer armor yet. I only had the first tier of archer armor, so I guess I could have waited for that instead.
Mandatum ready.
Here I'm just creating a monk so that I can pick up the relic that's up here in the northern wasteland. I also eventually attempt to rotate a couple of the relics up into that northern area so that it's nice and safe and the monastery doesn't get knocked down by mistake. The southern monastery that has the southern relic that I picked up does get knocked out by a couple of berserks eventually, I believe. So yeah, I do think rotating was worth it in the end. But now that I have this nest of towers, this area is just like a death zone for the Saxons. And really, at this point, I was feeling pretty comfortable. I think I was very happy here. I thought I was going to be able to get the 12 recruits into a win achievement. It was hard to really keep count of how many recruitments I'd done. I feel like I'd done enough recruitments and deletions. So I was pretty confident that I had done 12, but I still wasn't 100% sure. Also, I had been trying for several hours at this point, various strategies with no success, so I was pretty nervous. I wanted to get this victory really badly this time. So like while we're here and we have a lull in the action, some things that I tried that didn't really work out super well. I did try just training my 12 squads of recruited Saxons as soon as possible, and then wiping the Pichs warriors just with human wave tactics. I don't think that's a great idea. I think you just need the minimum amount of Saxons in order to wipe out the Pichs, and then you try to slow down a little bit to buy yourself some additional time. What was happening for me in the case where I was just recruiting all 12 waves as soon as I could was the Saxons would betray me very easily, very quickly, like in the early 20-minute mark, and I would just immediately not have anything. I'd still be stuck in Castle Age with very little resources, and I'd just not have any chance to react whatsoever. Furthermore, my early development was completely gimped because I was consistently going over the 200 pop cap by recruiting the squads too quickly, so my villager count was suffering, and it was hurting my boom. I wasn't really booming. So those two features combined essentially make me recommend that you instead only do like 6 or 7 waves of Saxons to crush the Pichs, and then after that focus on booming and ensuring that you always have population space. Look at these guys, they're just getting machine gunned down. I even have the foresight to have my villager hop into a tower if I notice that he's taking damage. There, I sneak some extra food into villager production to try to gain access to that gold mine. I do think I end up mining a good amount of gold. And here I notice that Londinium is being attacked by Franks, and I think to myself, hey, wait a sec. All 3 of my town centers are still up. There's only a couple of soldiers attacking that town center. Is there potential that I come out here and I save that town center with some spare archers, right? Like, do I go for the sure win and then worry about the other achievement later, or do I go for broke and try to save Londinium here? And I do make the judgment, I think the correct judgment, which is my towers are going to hold down the fort with no problem over here, so any arbalesters that I have hanging around outside could form a strike force and try to sneak over to Londinium and save them. Of course, I want to make sure that my archers don't get caught up against enemy crossbows here. I still don't even have the final armor upgrade either. That being said, I'm not anticipating them to take damage, so I do engage without researching the final armor upgrade. Furthermore, I train a couple of villagers in this town center just to set up some repair operations. I'm going to let those Frankish units proceed towards my main town. Avoid them with my block of archers. They have better things to do. And thankfully, only 2 of these attackers came from this town center. Again, I don't know why only 2 of them started off this attack. A few more are coming in now, but my Arbalesters are on their way in. And they're going to fight it out against these Feudal Age units. It's like a knife through butter here. And my villagers are popping out to repair the TC now.
Ready.
So yeah, not too much to say here. I think it is somewhat luck-based. I have seen in past runs, where my town centers essentially got focused down right away. I'm not sure why they didn't get focused down this time. I do think it's some element of not keeping any villagers around there, not keeping any security force, like really not trying to defend them. By not trying to defend them, I kind of paradoxically left them for last here. And now that I'm in the Imperial Age with super strong units, I am in a position to defend. So yeah, super tense mission, super fun. I'm not gonna lie, I was getting pretty frustrated with it at first because I didn't understand the recruitment mechanics super well. I thought the betrayal was coming in way too fast. I anticipated that the pacing of this mission would not be as quite fast paced as it ended up being. That being said, once I got used to the pacing, I think I ended up enjoying it a lot more here. Now we have the Saxons taking a turn on the TC here. The Saxons do have some Husk Girls, which are very scary for the Arbalesters because they have so much pierce armor and they have anti-archer attack. But again, they're only in Castle Age, so they aren't the strongest. Our fully upgraded Arbalesters are able to do damage to them. Now I'm picking up forging so that I can use my excess food to get some light cavalry online. I want light cavalry here just in case I can try to, kite some infantry units around to distract them, or maybe take some fights in places that they need to be really quickly, in areas where I can't get the relevant mass of Arbalesters up.
Mandatum.
These 3 villagers have been dutifully mining their gold. And now the Arbalester wall has been set up in front of Londinium as well, so with the villagers in tow, they're going to be in great shape. Around this time, I started checking up on the status of my northern and southwestern town centers as well. I noticed that there are a few soldiers around here taking out buildings, but again, I don't want to awaken the beast too early, so as long as they're only going for like my barracks or my walls, I'm not super concerned. I'm going to let them be, let them do the damage. I'll only make a move if I notice that my town center is being directly threatened. And look at that, we only have around 11 years left to go.
Yes.
Also, something to mention is that you can't build docks in this mission, so you can't take the fight across the water. You also cannot build a market this mission either, so you can't rebalance your economy that way. It's going to be a raw, like boomer bust kind of situation. Every resource that you get does end up being pretty useful though, so I'm not going to complain. So yeah, while we have this lull as well, I'd like to take the opportunity to address something that's kind of been bothering me a little bit, which is the negative reviews that this DLC has been receiving on Steam. A lot of people are saying that this is just a copy-paste of free scenarios that are already available in the mod workshop, and there wasn't too much polish on the on top of the free scenarios, and so the DLC isn't really worth the money. My take on this is I probably would have paid for Filthy Delphia's DLCs if they were not released on the workshop. I think of this as the free missions becoming paid is fine because it's a quick buck that they can make to, you know, keep the servers up and continue supporting the game. And then if this format of DLC does well, which I hope it does, despite the negative reviews, we'll be able to see, you know, Filthy actually invest his hard work and effort into making even more campaigns that'll just be new, that'll come out, you know, relatively polished as well. Like if the campaign is completely new with nothing custom, then on the one hand you could say like, oh, we were getting it for free before, but on the other, I think Filthy works very hard, and I think he deserves to get paid for the work that he does. And hopefully this sparks like a renaissance of mod creators making their own high-level campaigns so that maybe they get to work on the next collab. I think overall it's good for the community. You know, it's better than a subscription model, which is kind of required in order to, you know, justify costs that are recurring, such as like server costs and stuff like that. Perhaps I'm biased. I do have no trouble spending this amount of money on a DLC, and I don't really feel it. So for others that are maybe not as financially lucky, it is kind of like a high cost, in which case I totally understand the bitterness there. But overall, like, I try not to think of this as like anyone being malicious with a copy paste or anything like that. I think it's a good opportunity to make money for like relatively low effort, low extra effort rather, because a lot of like the love and effort has already been poured into these scenarios, right? I'm hoping that in the future we'll get even more DLCs that are campaign focused, and they don't necessarily all have to be like super special or like insanely new, but I do think that they would be fun. I am also, you know, again, biased. Anyhow, I am just using light cavalry now to bait green around. Even though my light cavalry are not super strong, a lot of these green units and yellow units are in terrible ages, so they're not very strong either, so my light cavalry are able to hold their own somewhat. And I'm just using the cavalry to clear out some raiders here and there and distract foes from my villagers. Even protecting my monastery there so that my relic that is inside can continue giving me gold. But we are at 497 CE, and at this point I'm pretty much in disbelief. I thought I was dreaming. It's like 5 in the morning for me as I record this, because I've been trying this for so long, and I guess I had like a coffee earlier or something, and I can't sleep. So I was in disbelief that I was going to get both achievements in one go here. Very hyped, so I'm happy to record this post commentary now and upload it to YouTube for the world to see. If Filthy, if you watch this, man, big fan of your content. I played what is it? I played Geyseric earlier, and that one was very fun as well. This one was much faster paced, but also a certified banger. I definitely spent more total time on this one trying to figure it out than I did on Geyseric, which after the first several minutes or so was relatively straightforward, all things considered. Anyhow, as we approach the end here, I'm about to accidentally end the recording once I pop the achievements, but do look in the bottom right corner. You'll see both of them pop up simultaneously, which is a very nice visual there. And yeah, thank you guys as always for watching. I enjoy Age of Empires a lot. The game leaves me a lot of nostalgia, I know I don't get a lot of views on my YouTube videos, but in my opinion, that's okay. I'm happy to make them anyway. I probably would make them even if I had 0 viewers. But if you're watching this, thank you for watching. Dude, all through my town center. Oh my god. Whoops, I stopped the recording by accident, but we can restart it. Oh shit, that was great.
Writings from 5th century Britain are limited, and the period is shrouded in mythology. Central authority vanished, the cities were emptied, and local lords established hill forts, arming their retainers with weapons left behind by the legions. The monk, Gildas, writing a century after the fall of Roman Britain, described how the vile king, Vortigern, invited the Saxons to the island to defend it from other barbarian groups. The Saxons quickly betrayed him, killed Vortigern's sons, and formed kingdoms in eastern Britain. These would eventually become the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. Something of the old Britain remained, however, with roots more ancient than the Romans. In the west of the island, the Welsh preserved Brittonic culture against the fierce Saxons. The Welsh would remain free for 9 centuries, until the Normans conquered this last frontier.
Okay. Well, you just saw it in the bottom right corner, and you see the difficulty here. We just pulled that off. That is hard Vortigern completed with both achievements, which is to say 12 recruitments of Saxons and all towns standing. I'm going to be doing a post commentary on this. That'll be a job for future me, but holy crap, I spent hours and hours and hours and hours trying this, so I'm super glad I was able to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been the Clever Fool. I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.